Okay, class, today we're going to talk about copyright laws and some issues that come about with copyright laws. Now, the U.S. Constitution, or the U.S. copyright law, is so intense and broad that I can't possibly go into everything here. So I'm just going to scratch the surface. There's some online resources that I've added that you guys can go to, explore it, learn a little bit on your own, do some research on your own. I'm going to give a short lecture on the copyright laws and some things that they cover and some issues that come up whenever you're talking about using works that are copyrighted. U.S. copyright law tries to encourage the creation of things by rewarding people with a set of exclusive rights. Copyright laws grant the creator of the work the exclusive right to make and sell copies of their work, the right to create derivatives of the work, and the right to perform or display their works publicly. These exclusive rights are subject to a time limit, though. Typically, it's 70 years after the death of the author. That's why you see the estate of Elvis Presley and the estate of Michael Jackson still making money off of the work of those artists, because they're still bound by the copyright laws until 70 years after their death, typically. The United States Constitution explicitly grants Congress the power to create copyright laws, and the United States copyright law is governed by the Copyright Act of 1976. What's covered by copyright? Well, this is a small list. This doesn't by any means mean this is the only thing that's covered by copyright. This is kind of just a small short list I've come up with. Literary works, musical work, dramatic works, choreographic works, pictures, graphics, sculptures, audio-visual works, sound recordings, derivative works, compilations, and architectural work. And like I said, the copyright laws can be flexed, they can be tricky, so you really have to dig deep into it. But I'm going to tell you some ways here in a little bit to really go around not even risking getting caught. What are some of the limitations and exceptions? Copyright protection does not extend to ideas, procedures, processes, systems, things like that. Facts also cannot be copyrighted. Useful articles may not be copyrighted. Therefore, if the law deems an article to be useful, say for us in a classroom setting, it cannot be copyrighted. Some of the defenses. How about the good faith defense? The good faith defense reduces the damage or liability that we may have as the infringer if the infringer is an educational institution, a library, a public broadcaster, and we reasonably believed that the infringing use was deemed fair use. How about the Safe Harbor Act? The Safe Harbor is for online service providers from secondary liability for their users' copyright infringement. Basically, that's saying I'm an online service provider. If you are putting work out through my internet service, and you infringe on somebody's copyright, I am protected as a provider of the internet service through Safe Harbor. One thing to remember, and I like to always try to keep this in mind when using works that I'm finding on the internet for class, if it's copyrighted and I deem I'm adding value to the work, for example, say there's an online picture studio where a photographer has all of his pictures, and I see one that I think, wow, this is really going to put a point across in my classroom. I can use that picture, copy it, use it, as long as I can prove I'm adding value to the photo by having it in an educational setting or a government setting, anything like that, we can use that work, even if it is copyrighted. So if you're adding value to the work, you can use it. Okay, like I said, this is just a scratch on the surface of copyright rules and regulations, along with what you can and cannot do with copyrighted work. I urge you to look at and read the online resources that I have provided for Lesson 1 so you can dig deeper into the subject. Also, research the item you want to use. That's all I can say. Just research that item, see if it's even copyrighted at all. And something else, I told you I would give you guys an idea of how to really avoid infringing on copyrights. There's a website called Creative Commons. Use that. I've used it for all my work in this class, on this course, I should say. It will help you find works that can be shared. They're not copyrighted, or they're copyrighted and they're allowed to be shared. You're allowed to use them. All right? So that concludes the video lecture for Lesson 1, Copyright Issues. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the online resources.